Regular meeting for Monday, February the 8th, 2021. Let me read this initial statement. This City Council regular meeting will be conducted virtually with council members conferencing into the meeting. In consideration of COVID-19 cases in Cass County and the City of Raymore, the public is encouraged to participate from home. There is limited space available in Centerview should the public wish to attend. The public can also view the meeting live by going to www.raymore.com/video. The public can submit comments at any point during the meeting by emailing Mr. Eke at mekey@raymore.com, and those comments will be read aloud at the public comments, section 11 part of the agenda. So I could please have the roll call.
Councilmember Abdel-Gawad, absent. Councilmember Barber.
Present.
Councilmember Berenson, absent. Councilmember Burke.
Present.
Councilmember Circo.
Present.
Councilmember Holman.
Present.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Present.
Councilmember Townsend.
Present.
Mayor Turnbow.
Present, and let the record reflect that Mr. Berenson just joined us. If you'd all please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Next item is presentations and awards. I do have, and since we have a couple of our members here on the call tonight that are, well, I guess I see three of you that are members of the Optimist Club, I'd like to read this proclamation. Whereas members of Optimist International celebrate Optimist Day throughout the world, the first Thursday of every February, to promote their efforts in helping and recognizing the young people that make a difference in their communities and who will encourage a greater exchange of ideas between young people and adults. And whereas there are 2,400 Optimist clubs with more than 70,000 members in Optimist International and Optimist members throughout the world that carry out more than 6,500 service projects that serve 6 million young people a year. And whereas the Ray-Peck Sunrise Optimist Club, known as the Friends of Youth, was chartered on June 1, 1980, and recently celebrated its 40th anniversary. And whereas the Ray-Peck Sunrise Optimist Club awards $5,000 in scholarships to students each year and organizes around 38 events to support and encourage the children in our community each year. And whereas the Ray-Peck Sunrise Optimist Club has performed countless acts of service to the community, now therefore I, Christopher P. Turnbow, Mayor of the City of Raymore, do hereby proclaim February 8th, 2021 as Ray-Peck Sunrise Optimist Day in the City of Raymore, and recognize our city's optimists for all of their accomplishments and for the impact they have made in others' lives. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Raymore to be affixed this 8th day of February 2021. Congratulations, members of Ray-Peck Optimists. Thank you all. Reggie, I know you're a member. Mr. Circo. So I have Mr. Townsend, Mr. Circo. Mr. Burke, are you a member as well? And Mr. Barber. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Well, half of our council are members of this esteemed organization. Thank you for all the work that you do. And I will, which mailbox do you want me to put this in for delivery?
Mr. Circo.
Mr. Circo, you got it. All right. Thank you all. We'll now move on to, we have no personal appearances. We'll move on to staff reports. Mr. Fearborn.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Excuse me. Let the record reflect that Ms. Abdel-Gawad joined us about 2 minutes ago as well. Thank you.
This evening, and in light of the weather, I indicated to the department heads who have their written reports in that they did not need to arrive. We will be moving, and so as in past meetings, they stand ready to answer any questions the council might have about the reports via email, either tonight or tomorrow or at your convenience. The police and emergency management report, we have moved. It's going to be somewhat lengthy. I have ask the chief to be prepared to present that to the city council on Monday night, March 1st. It is the annual report of the case logs that the council has requested that they give. So that'll be in front of you on March 1 at your work session. There is no work session scheduled for next week in light of President's Day, and that concludes staff reports this evening, sir.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Hearing none, we'll move on. We have no committee reports. Next item is our consent agenda. We have but with the one item on our consent agenda tonight, which is the city council minutes for January the 25th, 2021. I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend,
I move that we approve consent agenda A, item A, city council minutes from January 25th, 2021.
thank you. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. This is Councilmember Holman. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. The motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes of the January 25th meeting. Any further discussion? Ms. Abdelgawad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was absent for that meeting, so I'll abstain, but just a note at the top, it does say that I was present via Zoom.
We will make that correction.
Thank you.
With one correction. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Abstain?
She's abstaining.
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Barrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke,
Yes.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 1 abstention. We'll now move on to unfinished business. Could I please have the second reading of Bill 3598 by title only?
The second reading of Bill 3598 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, committing the City of Raymore to participate in the Show Me Green sales tax holiday in 2021.
And as Mr. Holman brought up at the last meeting, we've never not participated in this, but I would entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the second reading of Bill 3598, Show Me Green sales tax holiday.
Thank you, Mr. Townsend. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. This is Councilmember Holman. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the second reading of Bill 3598. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad,
Yes?
Councilmember Barber,
Yes.
Councilmember Barrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Burke, Councilmember Burke,
Just give me a thumbs up or down. There we go. We got a yes there.
Councilmember Circo,
Yes.
Councilmember Holman,
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson,
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. We'll now move on to new business. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3599 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3599 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, authorizing an amendment to the fiscal year 2021 capital budget to provide funding in the Vehicle and Equipment Replacement Fund.
Thank you. Is there a staff report, sir?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Icky to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, sir. The item before the council tonight is a budget amendment in the vehicle equipment replacement plan. There's really two components to this item. Public Works is looking to replace a backhoe that currently is experiencing a number of maintenance issues that are causing, maintenance costs to increase. And so what we are looking to do with this budget amendment first is to move forward the replacement date of this backhoe that the council has been setting aside money for annually in its budget. The second component to this is there is a mini excavator that currently is not being used as much as Public Works had originally anticipated when it was purchased. And so the plan is that by advancing the replacement of the larger backhoe and then by using the funds that have been set aside for the mini excavator, there are enough funds to fully replace the large backhoe. The current backhoe that is used would be used exclusively in the salt dome, which would just continue to, for that exclusive purpose. And then the new backhoe would be used for service calls and situations much like with a water main break. The mini excavator would also continue to be used, but because we would not be setting funds aside for its replacement, once it reaches the end of its usefulness, it would just be removed from the VERP entirely. That is the item for council, and I can answer any questions.
Are there any questions of Mr. Ike? So Enterprise Leasing doesn't carry backhoes?
Unfortunately, they do not. We asked.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing further, I would entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Townsend.
Mr. Townsend,
I move that we approve the first reading of Bill 3599, Budget Amendment, Vehicle and Equipment Replacement Fund.
thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. This is Councilmember Holman. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. The motion has been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3599. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 8-0. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3600 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3600 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving and authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Central Power Systems and Services for preventative emergency generator maintenance and repairs for a 3-year period.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, sir. I would ask Mr. Ike to make a staff report on this agenda item.
Thank you, sir. The item before council is the first of two preventative maintenance contracts. This one with Central Power Systems and Services is for the preventative maintenance of the 8 emergency generators. The generators are not only used here at City Hall as well as our other facilities in case of a power outage, but is also used at the lift stations if they also were to lose power. And so these are critical pieces of equipment that we need to ensure are up and running throughout the year. I can answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Ike? If there are none, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend,
I move that we approve Bill 3600, Award of Contract Emergency Generator Maintenance.
thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Holman, and I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. The motion's been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3600. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Could I please have the first reading of Bill 3601 by title only?
The first reading of Bill 3601 by title only, an ordinance of the City of Raymore, Missouri, approving and authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Martin Mechanical Contractors for preventative HVAC maintenance and repairs for a 3-year period.
Thank you. Is there a staff report?
Thank you, sir. I'd ask Mr. Ike to make a staff report on this item.
Thank you, sir. This is the second preventative maintenance contract. This is for our HVAC systems at all of our buildings. The contractor that staff is recommending, Martin Mechanical Contractors, is a new contractor, but comes with very high recommendations. Currently servicing HVAC systems at the University of Central Missouri, the KCK Housing Authority, as well as the Independence Housing Authority. They're based in Grandview, and we look forward to working with them. I can answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Ike? If there are no questions of Mr. Ike, I'd entertain a motion to dispose of this item.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Townsend,
I move that we approve Bill 3601, Award of Contract HVAC Maintenance.
thank you. Is there a second?
Yes, sir. It's Councilmember Holman, and I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Holman. Motion been made and seconded to approve the first reading of Bill 3601. Any further discussion? Hearing none, could I have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Abdelgawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously, 8-0. Thank you. That concludes new business. This brings us to item number 11, as described in the first part of the meeting, where if anyone would like to address the council at this time, you can write your question or comment to Mr. Ekey at mekey@raymore.com. We will wait now for a minute because we've not really gotten any responses lately. So 1 minute, quick enough.
We'd also note, for the purposes of the council, that no public is present at the meeting this evening.
While we're waiting, do you believe that we might be back in this room on March 1st? I know we haven't really discussed it
We
lately.
we would be recommending, sir, as long as the numbers and the 7-day average continue to go down in Cass County and in Raymore the way that they are, that we at the very least be back here, and of course with distancing
distance.
wherever we're
Sure.
at, or in council chambers, because we had figured out a way to make that certainly distant. Because Centerview is going to be open on March 1 as well, it's going to be somewhat problematic, and we're at our minutes, or it's going to be somewhat problematic to be moving all of these items out so that they can be renting Centerview
Sure.
during the day. So more than likely, we'll be recommending, with all precautions still in place, that we return to where we left off in council chambers, but still practicing the full distancing.
Okay. And while we're still waiting, have any of you gotten a vaccine yet? I had my first one last week. Not yet? Okay.
My wife had hers.
Oh, okay.
And we've just now learned from Dr. Pettengill that Ray Peck will be on a virtual day tomorrow, sir.
Virtual day tomorrow, okay. All right, well, we've gone past our minute. Anything, Mr. Ekey? Nothing? Then we'll move on to mayor council form of communications. I'll start right in the middle of my little Brady Bunch group here. Mr. Burke, you're it. You're on first.
All right. I guess all I have is for the students that are happy they have a snow day now, but it's not really a snow day. It's you need to log in at 8:15 for your first class
That's right.
and all the rest of the classes. Have a great day, though.
There you go. Thank you, sir. Mr. Holman?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one thing this evening, your resolution recognizing and honoring the Optimist Club is very well founded. I've not been a member, much to the chagrin of Councilmember Barber over the years. He is very polite and professional in trying to get me to join that organization, and I have promised him that when they change the name to the Sunset Optimist Club, I will join. But I have found that organization to be one of the most highest regarded, or should be one of the most highest regarded organizations within the community. It is made up of a group of the finest individuals I have ever known. And as far as I can tell, they accomplish two things. They provide great services to the community in a variety of ways. You mentioned the scholarships that they provide, and then obviously the camaraderie and friendship and opportunity to get together with their own members. My accolades to that organization, to all of the members of the council that are members of it, and all of their other members as well. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Circo?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just to chime in on that, the presentation you did was, again, well-founded. I appreciate it immensely. The Optimist Club appreciates it. I appreciate being on the Optimist Club this year, again, being the vice president and working through it. We do a lot of great things for the children, the kids around the area, in the area, and as much as we can, and promote that for the children. And we thank the city of Raymore to do that presentation for us. It's a big honor, and we're highly appreciative. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Townsend?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you to Mr. Holman. That was very appropriate comments. You sound like you're the club president, and you're going to be the club president here real quick once we get you a member. So I got an application waiting for you. But as the current president, I do, again, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the proclamation for the city. Optimist International Day is the second, it was last week on the 4th, so the 4th of February of every year is Optimist International Day. And this proclamation goes just for the city of Raymore to kind of set the tone for everyone in these trying times of having an optimist outlook on things, as well as, being a friend of the youth, especially at this time with the virtual days now being more, and kids look for that outlet at the school to get around their peers, and don't have that same reaction when you're at home on the social media devices all the time. But again, thank you to all the current members, past members, as the mayor is a past member. So once an optimist, always an optimist. And everybody can be an optimist, whether you're a member or not. You have that optimistic spirit and outlook about you, and a way to show friendliness to people and show a caringness to others. That's the critical piece. So continue. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, for that proclamation. And thank you to everybody.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, Mr. Holman, I appreciate your comments about the optimist, and we'll get you, I do want to recognize, I know Councilman Circle is vice president, but Councilman Townsend is actually on his second term as president of the Optimist Club, which is really kind of unusual, but due to COVID and everything that went on, he took that responsibility. And if you know Councilman Townsend, he rarely says no, and he has multiple hats. So my hat off to him for his service and what he means to the club and the community. Also want to appreciate our Public Works Department. This is not a real great time for them. Not only have they got extra work on the streets, but the weather and temperature is something that is something highly, I would say, it's unusual for us to be this cold for this long. So I know we were talking about hiring and recruiting and different things at our last get together. These types of days and weeks doesn't help in that regard with that department. So appreciate them for what they do, their hard work. And it's like they're doing double work right now. So my hat's off to our Public Works Department.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jacobson.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if there's a whole lot I can add to everything that's been said about the Optimists. I also hold them in the highest regard. I've known several of their members over the years. They do great community work. And on periodically, about every other Sunday, I also have members trying to recruit me as well. So I'd like to get around to it. 6 a.m. is a little early for me right now, but one of these days I hope to get to it. It's an excellent organization. I really do. It's an organization that you want to be involved with. And to Councilman Barber's point about the Public Works Department, I truly appreciate everything they're doing with preventative work, preventative maintenance they've done, street road work with this cold weather rolling in. It's got to be kind of difficult, even if that's what you chose to do, to get out in this cold weather like this. That's awfully cold. And then finally, just a little something that kind of warmed my heart today. I'm going to share with all of you that is a reflection, I think, on our community. I'm working at home, like many of you are, and happened to be working on my computer today and looked out my window. You can see across the street to the other sidewalk. And one of our neighbors, I wish I knew who, but I didn't, had their snowblower going down the entire sidewalk, cleaning off the sidewalk for all the other neighbors. And that's the sort of city and community we live in, and just, reinforce that for me. And I thought it was worth sharing this evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Abdelgawad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to take a minute tonight to recognize our city staff. I had an opportunity to have a conversation in this last week with a council member from another city, and he mentioned to me that when he's looking for information or looking to learn something about city budgeting in particular, he loves to be able to get online and see the Raymore City budget because it's so easy to read, so easy to understand, and frankly said, I wish everybody could do it that way, because a lot of the other ones, there are things hidden, there are things, tucked away, or it's just this whole list of numbers that just don't make any sense. And so I know we recognize our city staff and we win awards for our budget presentation, but it never hurts when someone says you're doing a great job to actually hear it again. So great job to city staff, especially on the budget. We also talked a little bit about our council packets and our council agendas. And again, this person just raved about how the ones for our city are laid out. They're so easy to follow, so easy to read and understand and find the information you're looking for, whereas some other cities are quite a bit more complicated to try to work through and understand. So thanks to our city staff for making everything so easy for us and for being an example for other cities around here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Berenson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Boy, a lot of good comments tonight, and I don't have a whole lot to add. Councilman Abdelgawad, when she's praising the budget, it reminded me, there's a small organization that I'm affiliated with, and I help them with a budget, and it's roughly $150,000. It's interesting how it's easier to follow our budget than that, and we've, over the years, I've tried to help model that after ours a little bit. So it is amazing to see what our city staff does, and the more you look outward and see how other cities and other organizations conduct themselves, it just reinforces that our city does do a very terrific job, and they make it look easy. And I know that's not always easy for them to do, but they make it look easy. So again, thank you to city staff for all the hard work, and please take care of each other in this next 7 to 10 days when it's going to be frigid cold outside. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And you're right, with regard to the budget, I know that the GFOA recently added about 15 new items to their award that they do in order to include that, and we were able to get past all those 15 new criteria as well with regard to that. Isn't that right, Mr. Fearborn?
That is correct, sir.
Yep. So,
And there'll be
kudos to
10 for the next cycle.
Okay.
They've got way too much time to be sitting at home and trying to figure out how to change the awards.
Adding more hurdles. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for their participation tonight. I know it's cold and it's difficult. Yesterday we had that power outage that some of you were affected by, and ours, I don't know about yours, Sonia, did yours come on about mid-second quarter when mine came on, or did yours come on sooner?
Well, we gave up on it and left.
Oh.
We found a place that had electricity to go.
I don't blame you. You were smart.
Exactly what time it came on.
Gotcha. But it threw my AT&T out as well, and so they didn't get around to fixing it till today. So we were sitting there watching the game on my iPhone. It was kind of crazy, but anyway, thanks to those crews who got out there last night and worked in the cold and didn't get to watch the game because they were working hard. Evergy did a great job getting us back online after an accident put us all out for a while. And they were all back on by this morning. I don't think we had to open our shelter, did we?
We did not, sir. No one was there.
Okay, all right.
Now, we did have in addition to the Evergy folks who were out, of course, we had full crews out from Public Works as well all through the game.
True.
And
True.
we are hearing from those employees who are heading home just now that, especially north of here, Lee Summit and Kansas City, it is very, very bad on the roads. Everything is freezing back up. There's a very, very bad accident, according to Mr. Murdoch, at 50 and 470.
Yikes. All right, guys, well, be careful out there. And then, Mr. Townsend, hope you're up for the challenge. Next Monday night, I will be out of pocket, so if you'll conduct the work session, I would appreciate that, sir.
Sir.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's all I have for tonight. I'd entertain we don't have to go into executive session, I assume?
No, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Townsend will be off the hook again because there is no work session next Monday night.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. That's right. It's President's Day. I forgot about that. All right. Well, excellent. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, since I'm going to be here, we're not going to adjourn. No.
You turned your mic off, but I could read your lips, and you said you moved to adjourn. So, Mr. Holman, is there a second?
Yes, sir, I'll second.
Thank you. Motion been made and seconded. Could I please have the roll call?
Councilmember Abdel Gawad?
Yes.
Councilmember Barber?
Yes.
Councilmember Berenson?
Yes.
Councilmember Burke?
Yes.
Councilmember Circo?
Yes.
Councilmember Holman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Yes.
Councilmember Townsend?
Yes.
Thank you. That's 8-0. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a pleasant evening. Stay warm and safe. Bye-bye.
Good night.